Hello guys, if you're new to my YouTube channel, hit the subscribe button and the notification bell for an update of my next video. And for today's video, I will show you or teach you guys on how to reset your iPhone, and after resetting your iPhone, I will teach you and show you guys on how to set up your newly resetted iPhone. So without further ado, let's start. Why do we need to reset our iPhone? If your iPhone or iPad is misbehaving and initial solutions are not working, a full reset may be necessary. A factory reset can help resolve issues with your phone if it's crashing or freezing, or suffering from problems you can't identify. Modern electronic devices can be very complicated and can get themselves into a bit of confused state from time to time. Resetting and wiping a device can clear out problems that cause it to get stuck in a loop, appear sluggish, or otherwise impair performance. And also, if you're selling your iPhone or passing it down to a family member or a friend, it's absolutely vital that you delete all the sensitive data stored in it. If not, maybe the buyer could gain access to your social media profiles, your financial information, and even your personal photos, enabling them to browse through your private moments or steal your identity. How to factory reset your iPhone if you want to erase your device completely and return to factory settings. There are few steps to take, and here's how. First things first is to connect our device to a Wi-Fi network. Then the next thing we need to do after connecting to a Wi-Fi network is to back up our data using iCloud. To turn on Wi-Fi or to connect to a Wi-Fi connection, go to Settings, Wi-Fi, and toggle it on. And why do we need to back up our data? Making sure that all of this precious data is backed up somewhere is a crucial safeguard against theft, loss, or accidental damage. There are also a number of times in a year that Apple issues an update to the iOS software running on your iPad or iPhone, and our advice is to make sure you have a backup of your data before you update, just in case something goes wrong. So, to back up our data, just simply click your Apple ID account, go to iCloud, navigate to iCloud Backup, and here you can turn it on. To see when the last backup was run, look under the Backup Now option where the date and time should be displayed. If you haven't done a backup before, you can tap the Backup Now button and follow the instruction. After backing up your data, let's remove now our Apple account on the device. To do it, navigate to Settings, click our Apple ID account, and scroll down below and tap Sign Out. Then, you will see this window pops up asking if you need to keep a copy of our data on this iPhone such as Keychain or Safari. And the data removed from this iPhone will still be available in iCloud. Just disregard this one for you to really need to reset your iPhone and just tap Sign Out. Just wait for it to finish removing the iCloud data. It takes some time depending on the speed of your Wi-Fi's connection. After you log out your Apple ID account, let's continue now the steps to reset our iPhone. Navigate to Settings, tap General, then scroll down, tap Reset. There's 6 choices here with 6 different functions, and let me explain each one of them. First is to reset all settings. It will reset including network settings, the keyboard dictionary, the home screen layout, location settings, privacy settings, and Apple Pay cards are removed or reset to their defaults, but there will be no data or media deleted. It will keep your data or media. Let's skip the second part because it's what we're going to use and I'm gonna explain it afterwards. So let's proceed to the third one, and that is to reset network settings. All network settings are removed. In addition, the device name assigned in settings to the general to the about is reset to iPhone, and manually trusted certificates such as for websites are changed to untrusted. When you reset network settings, previously used networks and VPN settings that were not installed by a configuration profile or mobile device management or MDM are removed. Wi-Fi is turned off and then back on, disconnecting you from any network you are on. The Wi-Fi and Ask to Join network settings remain turned on. And the fourth one is to reset keyboard dictionary. You add words to the keyboard dictionary by rejecting words. iPhone suggests as you type. Resetting the keyboard dictionary erases only the words you've added. The fifth one is to reset home screen layout. It will return the built-in apps to the original layout on the home screen. The last one is to reset location and privacy. It will just simply resets the location services and privacy settings to their defaults. So, I just explained all of them except for the second one, which is to erase all content and settings, for it will be the one that we are going to choose to totally reset our iPhone. So let's tap or click erase all content and settings to reset our iPhone. As the pop-up message says, this will delete all media and data and reset all settings, so just simply tap erase iPhone. And there will be a confirmation message that will pop up asking that, are you sure you want to continue? All media and data settings will be erased. This cannot be undone. You can still cancel the resetting process at this stage, but if you have fully decided to reset your iPhone, then just simply tap erase iPhone. And you will see now the Apple logo with a loading bar underneath the Apple logo. So let's just finish the resetting process. It usually takes 1 to 2 minutes and you can now have a fresh start setting up your iPhone. So the next one is I will teach you guys on how to set up your newly resetted or newly bought iPhone. We just resetted this iPhone that makes it go to its original default settings, same as buying a new one. So without further ado, let's start. So when asked, choose your language, let's choose English. Then tap your country or region. I'm gonna choose Philippines. And why do we need to select our language and country? So it's because this affects how information looks on your device, including date, time, contacts, and more. At this point, you can tap the blue accessibility button to set up accessibility options that can optimize your setup experience and the use of your new device. The accessibility button is here, the top right corner. Then next is Quick Start. If you have another device that's running iOS 11 or later, you can use it to automatically set up your new device with Quick Start. Bring the two devices close together and then follow the instructions. But we are not doing that because we are using only one iPhone. If you do not have another device with iOS 11 or later, tap Set up manually to continue. Next is the written and spoken languages. The following languages are commonly used in your region. You can set up your iPhone to use the settings or customize them individually. You can customize the settings on your preferred languages, keyboards, and dictations. As for me, it's all good, so I don't need to customize it anymore. So let's proceed and tap continue. Next is to choose a Wi-Fi network. It's one of the essential parts to continue setting up our iPhone. You can also choose to use your mobile data if you have a strong mobile data connection, because setting up our iPhone needs a fast connection or else it won't go through the setting up process. So let's connect to the Wi-Fi. Let me just type the password. So after connecting to the Wi-Fi, let's just wait for it to finish because it may take some time. After which is the data and privacy. This icon appears when Apple features ask to use your personal information. You won't see this with every feature since Apple collects this information only when needed to enable features, secure our services, or personalize your experience. Apple believes privacy is a fundamental human right, so every Apple product is designed to minimize the collection and use of your data, use on-device processing whenever possible, and provides transparency and control over your information. So let's just tap continue. Next is the Face ID. On some devices, you can set up Face ID or Touch ID. With these features, you can use face recognition or your fingerprint to unlock your device and make purchases. Tap continue and follow the instructions or tap set up later in settings. So I'm gonna set up this one later because I don't want you guys to see my face. So let's tap set up later in settings. Next, a 6-digit passcode to help protect your data. You need a passcode to use features like Face ID, Touch ID, and Apple Play. If you'd like a 4-digit passcode, custom passcode, or no passcode, tap the passcode options. Here, we can choose between custom alphanumeric code, custom numeric code, 4-digit numeric code, or don't use passcode. So I'm gonna choose don't use passcode. So using a passcode is highly recommended. A passcode secures your iPhone and protects your data. Some features for iOS and Apple ID cannot be used without a passcode, so I'm just gonna set it up later in settings, so don't use passcode. Next is restore or transfer your information and data. Here, we can choose how to transfer apps and data to this iPhone. If you have an iCloud or iTunes backup or an Android device, you can restore or transfer your data from your old device to your new device. If you don't have a backup or another device, select Don't Transfer Apps and Data. Next is the Apple ID. Why is the Apple ID important? Here, we can sign in with your Apple ID to use iCloud, the App Store, and the other Apple services. Enter your Apple ID and password or tap Forget Password or Don't Have an Apple ID. From there, you can recover your Apple ID or password, or also you can also create an Apple ID or set it up later. If you use more than one Apple ID, tap this one. Use different Apple IDs for iCloud and iTunes. When you sign in with your Apple ID, you might be prompted for a verification code from your previous device, but for me, I'm just gonna set it up later in settings. And here, we can also see here the function of the Apple ID. What is an Apple ID? An Apple ID is the account you use to access everything Apple. You can sign in to all Apple services with single Apple ID and password. So let's just tap set up later settings. So a verification window will pop up asking, are you sure you don't want to use an Apple ID? You need an Apple ID to use the App Store, iCloud, and other services. Creating one is free and easy, so let's just set it up later in settings. So let's just stop, don't use. So next is the terms and conditions. So let's just agree to the terms and condition given by the Apple. Agree, let's just tap agree. Next is the express settings. You can use the settings below or customize them individually. It allows maps and other apps and services like Find My to gather and use data indicating your location. It helps Apple improve its products and services by allowing analytics of usage and data from your iPhone. So let's just tap continue. Continue. On the next screen is to keep up your iPhone up to date. You can decide whether to share information with app developers and allow iOS to update automatically. Get the latest features, security, and improvements by updating iOS automatically. You will receive a notification before updates are installed and can choose other options in settings. So let's just tap continue. The next one is the iMessage and FaceTime. People can contact you on all your devices with iMessage and FaceTime using your phone number or email addresses. The phone number of this phone will be sent to Apple to set up iMessage and FaceTime. So if you don't want to use yet the FaceTime and iMessage just like me, let's just tap not now. Next one is the screen time. Screen time gives you insight into how much time you and your kids spend on your devices. It also lets you set time limits for daily app use. After you set up screen time, you can turn on True Tone if your device supports it and use Display Zoom to adjust the size of your icons and text on your home screen. And if you have an iPhone X or later, learn more about using gestures to navigate your device. If you have an iPhone 7 or 7 Plus, iPhone 8 or 8 Plus, you can adjust and click for your home button, and it also says get a weekly report with insights about your screen time and set time limits for apps you want to manage. You can also use screen time on children's devices and set up parental controls. So let's just tap continue. And the next one is the app analytics. It says here, help app developers improve their apps by choosing to share app activity and crash data with them through Apple. You can change your decision later in settings. But for me, it's not really essential, and it will just contribute on the factor that keeps draining my battery. So I'm gonna choose, or let's just choose don't share. Next is the True Tone display. iPhone automatically adapts to ambient lighting conditions to make color appear consistent in different environments. You can change this later in display and brightness settings. So let's just tap continue. And the next is the appearance. Select a light or dark appearance and see how iOS adjusts depending on which one you choose. Gonna choose dark or light, but I prefer light background. So let's tap continue. Next is the display zoom. We can choose how you would like to view iPhone. Zoom shows larger text and controls. Standard fits more on screen. You can change this at any time in settings. So I choose between zoom or standard, but I prefer the standard one. So let's tap continue. And we're finished. Let's swipe up to get started. And the next one is I'm gonna show you guys the first things you should do when you get a new iPhone or if you resetted your iPhone. First is to sign in our Apple ID account to back up also our data. Just navigate to settings and tap sign in to your iPhone. We will be asked to sign in with our Apple ID to use iCloud and other Apple services. And after signing in your Apple ID, the next one is to set up Touch ID or Face ID. It's not compulsory to switch on Apple Touch ID fingerprint scanner or Face ID facial recognition, but if you care about security and you're over-typing in passcodes, it's a wise move. You'll be invited to do so when first switch on your brand new iPhone. But if you skip over this step during the setup, just like us, we skip it. So here's what to do. If you get an iPhone X with a Face ID, an iPhone X or newer, follow these steps. Open the settings app, then tap Face ID and passcode. And then bang in your PIN, tap set a Face ID, position your face in front of the device, and hit get started. You'll need to look straight in your iPhone and place your face inside the frame and follow the instructions. While Face ID works with glasses and contact lenses, if you're having trouble, you can use the setup and alternative appearance to help your iPhone recognize a second distinctive look. Of course, if your preference is a 6-digit passcode, you can also activate, change and delete this from the same screen. Just tap turn passcode off or turn passcode to make amendments. If you've got an older iPhone SE model or the lower model, you'll follow these steps for the fingerprint reader. Head to the settings, then tap Touch ID and passcode. You will need to type in your passcode to make any changes, but once you're identified, you can add and delete fingerprints easily. Simply tap finger 1 and follow the prompts. Our pro tip for getting Touch ID working smoothly: register the same fingerprint multiple times. Next one is to switch on accessibility features. So navigate to settings, then tap accessibility. iOS users with visual impairments can switch on additional accessibility features such as speak screen or voice over to hear on-screen text and read aloud, braille displays, or even just bolder and larger text. To activate, you'll need to tap settings, then select general, then accessibility. The accessibility screen also offers customizable touchscreen interaction such as assistive touch and custom gestures for users who need to adaptive accessories or have trouble with touching the iPhone screen. You can also switch on hearing aid mode to improve audio quality for hearing aid users, and LED flash for alerts instead of sound, and various other adaptations for users with disabilities. So, if you've got an iPhone X without a home button, iPhone X and app, you can use the assistive touch options to add the software home button to your phone. You can also customize how this button works. For example, a single tap can be configured to go to home, but a double tap could be useful to open your notifications. You'll find this under the touch menu. Here, touch, turn on the assistive touch. Here. You can also use accessibility options to enable back tap. This lets you double tap or triple tap the back of your iPhone for actions like taking a screenshot, firing up Siri, or adjusting the volume. You'll find back tap under the touch menu. The next one is to customize your control center. Navigate to settings, then tap control center. The control center in iOS 11 and upward comes with updated personalization options, so users can easily access important settings and features with a quick swipe up of the screen or down if you're an iPhone with a notch display. To start customizing, head to settings, then control center, then tap customize controls. Once you're in the customization screen, you can pick and choose which features you'd like to add to your personalized control center. Example of apps and tools you can add or remove includes the flashlight, low power mode, alarm, Apple TV remote, notes, accessibility shortcuts, and do not disturb while driving. Next is to turn on or turn off autocorrection. Autocorrection uses your keyboard dictionary to spell check words as you type, automatically correcting misspelled words for you. It's kinda helpful, but usually most people find it irritating and they choose to turn it off. To turn it off or on, navigate to Settings, to General, then here, Keyboard. We can turn off or turn on autocorrection, but for me, I prefer it turned off. Next is to adjust the text size at your choice or at your preference. Maybe you wanted the words to be big or small, so just simply navigate to Settings, go to Display and Brightness, and here we can adjust the text size at our own choice. Maybe want it smaller or maybe want it bigger. So it depends, but for me I want it just normal. And on this display and brightness section here, we can also select the auto lock time. We can choose between 30 seconds, 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 4 minutes, 5 minutes, or never, or maybe we don't want the iPhone to auto lock. I think that's all, so that's it. I hope it helps. If you have some requests on what video I'm gonna do next, feel free to comment below. Thank you guys for watching. See you guys on my next video.